Right, so people have been asking about the cleaning side. For doing the cupboards, going along doing all the hatches, what I tend to use is Mr. Sheen. I think it gives it a nice smell. And then what I'm doing now is I'm going to go around the rubbers now and silicone spray them all up. And then if you can see the windows here, you've got like the spiders like to get into them, so I'm going to go and clean all that up. Basically go around that and clean all around there, and then I will clean the windows with a glass cleaner. And then basically I'll go underneath the bench seats, give a good clean up there, make sure everything's tidy underneath, and just methodically work my way around. So I'll start at the top and then slowly work my way down. I have done already over the cab and the skylight, so I'll come down to round about to here, and then I'll go back along and do the other side of the van again, starting from the top, working my way down, and then underneath the hatches. I have got everything primed up as well. I like to have the water all primed up. I have got the water on the gas and I've got the fridge on the gas, so a good opportunity while I am going through cleaning up, if there's any leaks or anything that I've missed the first time around. So people probably think the cleaning side's a bit boring. I enjoy doing it. You can just lose yourself, but also it gives me a chance to just go through just things that I might have missed, really, to be honest. So I better crack on. Right, so okie dokie, so you can see now it's all come up nice, cleaned all around the window as well, and then now I'm going to start to go underneath the bench. Now I do have different rags, because you've got to look after the profits, you know, so I do have different rags. So if I do my windows, I'll start off with this one here. Let's put that back down. So I'll start off with this one for cleaning my windows, and then to bring it back up I've got this one, and then I'll use this one for polishing, and then I've got another one. Where's my other one gone? That's probably out. So here we go. And then this is another one then for getting bits and bobs off inside, and then this one's for basically for going around the windows. And then what I do then, as they start to get dirty, they get relegated. So this one here now has been relegated now for the floor, and then once this one gets grubby, that'll get relegated down. It's just so I'm making the most of the rags, because it all costs money at the end of the day. It might be a bit tight, but then, like I say, I have my little routine with my little rags. So anyway, I'll carry on. Right, so there's under my bench seat, nice and clean now. I've just been and cleaned up the winter covers. I'll just put them down now, just give them a bit of cleaning. It only takes a couple of minutes. And then if you notice the hatch, I won't do the hatch yet. What I'll do is what I'll do inside first, and I'll go outside and do all the hatches. So there's underneath done. I'll put that back together, and then I'll carry on and move on and do this section here, and then I think I'll do the bathroom. So that's that done. Shall we have a look and see if we're getting warm water? Let's have a look. Yes, there we go. So, ooh, that's hot. That is hot. I've got a thermometer. Let's have a look, see what's coming out at. Oh, 63 degrees. That is hot. So we know now that the gas is working on the hot water, and we'll just switch that off. There you go, that's switched off now. Well, the fridge is there, is on the gas. I'll go and check that in a bit. I'll leave that another hour first. So we know the fire's working on the gas, we know the hot water's getting warm on the gas, so I've done that side, I'll put that back together, and now I'll move over and do that side. Right, see you in a bit. Right, just going to cut into the video. Basically, we had a customer who had a van off us a couple of years ago, Kev, wasn't it?
Yeah.
A few years ago, and he's saying one of his gas hob ring isn't lighting at all. So Kev said, right, I'll take a look at it, and I'll let Kev explain this to you.
Well, he came this morning, he phoned up this morning, so I said we'll bring it in and I'll have a look this afternoon. He's had a go himself, and he'd actually taken the injector out, which is usually the cause of the problem, which sits in the bottom of the burner cap. There, you've got your burner cap, and then that injector's in there. So that's your first point of call. So we tried that, obviously that's clear because he'd cleared it himself. So then, unfortunately it was the job then, I managed to drop this off, check that that's clear, and then what we found was the blockage was in this pipe, which runs from the tap assembly there.
So just explain whether that's the hob, isn't it?
Yep, that's the burner there. Yeah. So this pipe runs from here to the burner when I've got it back, so there's enough play on it. So that goes in there. That goes into the tap assembly. Yeah. Which I'm now going to put back in because I've cleared the blockage. So the blockage was actually in this pipe. Could be caused by dirty gas. 9 times out of 10 it's caused by something boiling over on the hob, dropping into the burner cap and running into the pipework. Very rare the pipework gets blocked. It's usually just the injector. You can clear that and you're away. But as you can see, it ends up quite a bit of a job. So we've got the gas isolated at the isolation. I've also isolated the 240 to the ring for obvious reasons. I've got 240 under here if I started messing about under here. So we're just basically now going to reassemble. So the pipe's going to go on, this is going to go back on there, hob's going to be swung in, sealed in, put the seal back on.
And then another gas test on it.
Another gas test, and then hopefully we're okay.
And we gas test every time we disconnect the gas, don't we?
The reason we're doing a gas test is because I broke into the gas supply. So I've actually disconnected from there. So then it means we've got to test, obviously, do a gas test. But even if you're working after that, I mean, a gas test wouldn't show any leaks on this side of the tap because that's after the tap. But we've broken the supply, so we'll test on there.
And that's the main supply there, isn't it?
This is a supply from the taps to the other hobs. Yeah.
Just explain what these are then, Kev.
Right. This is your flame failure device. So it's like a thermomagnetic valve is the correct term. So what happens is that's on the end of your tap. Your probes there onto your thermocouple. So when you press in and hold it in, what you're doing is manually opening that magnetic valve. Once the thermocouple produces a small electric current, it keeps that magnetic valve open. If your burner blows out for any reason, that thermocouple will cool, bong, the valve closes. So those are your flame failure devices. On this you've only got 3 because you've got an electric ring as well. Some will have 4. Same sort of device you've got in your oven and your grill. Thermoelectric.
Thermoelectric. So you can put it back together now, aren't you?
I am, yeah. I'm just glad it wasn't the tap assembly that was blocked, because that would have been a lot more work. But no, nice easy job.
Okay, I'm going to quickly show you around. So, Auto Trail T620 that I was just checking off. That's all done now. Look at that. Doesn't that look nice? That's all good and ready to go. And then I think what I'm going to do, I'm just going to show you a few vans we've just had in. It's a bit like A-Class City actually. Let's go around and have a look. Right, let's go have a look around here. So, hive of activity going on. We have a Compass Avantgarde. That one we are sending after auction. We have another Compass here which we're just getting ready now. Paul's cracking on with that. And that's going off to auction as well. We're having a bit of a clear out. Auto Trail over there, that's sold. Paul's looking busy. Hymer, we're sending the Hymer off to auction, Paul, aren't we?
No.
No. We are. That's going off to auction. And we've had 2 more A-classes in as well. Kev, let's have a look at these 2 A-classes. We've had, go open this A-class up. Go open the A-class up.
Which keys is it?
That's the Burster we've had in. You're not very good today, Kev, are you? He's no good at all, is he, Paul?
So videoing that side, the door's on this side.
So we've had the Burster come in. That's just come in. It's on a private plate. It's a 2008. So let's have a look inside this one. In your own time, Kev, people are waiting. Go get the ladders, Kev. You'll need the ladders. Get them
I don't
there.
need ladders. 2007.
Okay, it's 2007 then. So typical A-class type. Let's have a look. Ooh, nice big bathroom there, washroom. We've got the full-size fridge, freezer. What's this one, Kev? Grill and oven. Just do the drop-down bed, show people. So the good thing with the A-Class, you get the drop-down bed. Can you reach?
I can, yeah. It will come lower, but you've got to swivel the seats around and drop the seats.
So there's the bed. And then we have, there's a dinette area. And then we have the kitchen area. I don't know why that's there. That's a bit pointless, isn't it?
I think somebody's replaced the glass lid with a piece of alloy.
Yeah. Bit of storage all the way around. So there's the Burster. Let's go have a look at this other van we've had in. We've had another A-Class come in. What do you think of that last van, Kev? Think of that Burster?
Nice.
You like that one?
German hill quality.
Right, so we have a Rapido. This is a 2016 Rapido. It's a bit of a beast. I'll show you the front. Open it up, Kev. Now this is a 2016, it's only done 7,000 miles. And somebody's got their eye on this one.
Yep.
So,
It's got video in it.
there it says. These are nice, these new lockers are nice. We've got an island bed, Kev.
I know.
All nice lockers
Got
around.
my name on this one.
There we go. Look at that little wash. What's that do there, Kev?
Slide it across. Slide it towards the bathroom.
Oh, look at that. Wants a good clean though, doesn't it? A good wardrobe. We'll have a look at the drop down bed.
Yeah.
And then
Not sure too bad.
we've got oven,
Typical
Grill.
drop down bed.
fridge, and then there's your drop down bed. So Kev, what do you think of this one?
It's got my name on it.
Do you like this one?
Yeah. I want this one.
You want it?
I want it.
What swings you towards this van?
It's an A-Class. I'm sick of reading my C1, so I need
What?
to...
Just explain that to people, Kev, the C1.
Right, I'm over 70. this will be the second time I have to renew my licence, and you need to take a medical for your C1.
And what's a C1?
A C1 means you can drive anything over 3.5 tonne up to 7.5 tonne. You get it automatically with grandfather rights if you pass your test before 1997. If you pass your test after 1997, then you have to take a separate test so you can drive a motorhome over 3.5 tonne. So be warned, if you're thinking of buying one, make sure you check the weight of your motorhome. It consists of a medical and an eyesight test. The eyesight test is more stringent than the eyesight test for a normal car, so the parameters are different, so be aware of that. So if you have had any eyesight problems, be aware of that.
And why has this appealed to you?
Well, for one thing, I wanted an A-class. If I was going to change mine, I'd change it for an A-class. The one I've got now is an Auto Trail Imala 730, which is plated at 3,850, and I want to drop down to 3.5 tonne, so I don't have to renew my C1.
And this one's a 3.5 tonne?
This one's 3.5 tonne. And he's only me and the wife, so I'm not going to overload it.
And that's the attraction there, isn't it?
Yeah, me, the wife and the cat, I should say.
The island bed.
Yeah, yeah, I've already got an island bed, so I don't...
So the question to you in the comments, should Kev get this van or not? What do you think?
Yes, it's a big yes. Yeah. Make my wife very happy. And the cat.
Right, so come on, let's crack on. Come on, Kev.